The first India versus England test match is very interestingly poised. Let's talk more about it here at Timeout with SportsAdda. Hello, Arun. Match fascinatingly poised and rain playing a spoil sport. Not really the script that we wanted.
No, absolutely not, Akhil. I mean, you crave for test match cricket. You crave for good red ball cricket. You get it. You get a taste of good red ball cricket. And look what happens. The weather sets in. This was expected, yes, but it's so disappointing when weather comes in between.
Absolutely. There are like so many nuances that happened even if it was a curtailed game yesterday. So while we do our regular talk about cricket and there are like so many things to talk about, we also have one interesting guest who is going to join us today, Arun. She's not she's joining us from the USA and she's going to join us. She's an influencer. She's going to be talking cricket with us. So should we welcome Preeti on the show?
Preity Upala, hello, welcome, namaste.
Namaste,
Hello,
Arun,
Preeti.
and namaste, Akhil. A pleasure to be on your platform.
Good to have you here. You're a bit of
Good
a
to have you here.
globetrotter, aren't you, Preeti?
Yes, I've been lucky enough to travel to about 100 countries, and I grew up in five major cities around the world, different cultures, different religions, completely. I was always, I guess, the outsider because I never grew up in India. So it opens your eyes, I think, and I truly consider myself a global citizen.
So whenever you've traveled to so many countries, Preeti, how have you tried to catch up with cricket? How have you like followed cricket, whether it's internet or you've still gone and tried to watch it on television wherever possible?
That's a great point. Luckily, I grew up in the Middle East, in Dubai, and also a few other countries. And as you know, cricket has always been huge in Dubai. There's a huge diaspora there. The India-Pakistan matches were so hot.
I'm
Um,
sure.
you know, Growing up, we used to love that, and there was so much nationalism on both ends. And I have really, really enjoyed, I think, growing up watching India. As a viewer from another part of the country. But it was fantastic, and I remember I think there've been times when I've traveled and I'm in Europe maybe and there's a match going on, but you tune in, and you keep you watch a live score going. And it's so exciting when your team does well. And I think India's done phenomenally well in the last few decades, actually, I would say. So I've had many moments where I've been, my team won, and it's so great.
Absolutely. So just a quick one about the game, guys. Like each of you, how does the match stand in your viewpoint? Like I have a few points that I have made note of. What do you think of the game, which is the current India versus England, say, first Test match, Preeti? How do you think it's lined up?
I'm blown away with actually not just our bowlers, but also for the first time, I think our openers. These conditions are always challenging for us in our top order, and I think
Yep.
I'm seeing such an intentful, resilient, smart, wise, Indian batting order, especially Rohit, Rahul, coming in and doing a phenomenal job. I want to see this in every match. This is, one of the few times when I think we are so, I mean, ahead from the get-go, I think. And after that end of the first day, I think most people would say India has this in the bag. But then, of course, it's England, and the English weather comes to, it saved us on some occasions, but this is an occasion it probably will be, it'll be jinxing us. So I hope that we get to play enough cricket that we get a result. I think we deserve a result, and I think India deserves to win this.
Just a quick one, Akhil and Preeti. We know Indian cricket fans in India can be demanding, but this is Preeti sitting somewhere in the US, in a completely different part of the world, yet so demanding on the Indian openers.
Well, I wanted to throw in a question to you, Arun. I mean, genuinely, we've been asking for opening starts in difficult conditions for a while now. But were you more pleased with the openers performing, or were you more pleased with the tailenders performing, batting yesterday?
Difficult one to choose, isn't it? Really difficult one. But please for the openers, opening the batting, opening itself is a difficult job to do, but even more difficult to do in England. And when you've got a certain James Anderson there and an Ollie Robinson who's getting the ball to move around, wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all, but they stuck around. Uh, I was looking at one number on the Cricket Info scorecard. It says control percentage, and that was hovering around 75, 76 all the time for both Rohit and KL, which means they were edging or beating the ball. The bat was beaten once every four deliveries. Now that's luck you need, but they gutted it around. Like they braved it around. That's what you want. Those kind of innings and those kind of performances will help the team win test matches.
Absolutely. And yesterday was one day, Arun and Preeti, where I realized how much Ben Stokes was missed by the England team. I mean,
Hmm.
they had only four bowlers bowling yesterday, but imagine a Ben Stokes in those conditions. He would have been as deadly as a Shardul bowling. He would have swung the ball both ways, would have continued to create the pressure for both the openers, and then he wouldn't have given easy runs away. So would have given a huge respite to Anderson. If you see, after the new ball was taken, they tried Karan. He went for runs. They had to get Anderson back again to pick up that wicket. So huge loss for England, huh, Preeti? Ben Stokes.
Yeah, he's really such a star player. But which brings us to the point of, mental health, the conversation around mental health, in sport in general and the world. And then the point I want to say is, you need somebody like a Ben Stokes, who is known and recognized globally to talk about it, because just imagine the unknown, unnamed players around the world
Yeah,
that have the same issues, and they don't get space because the minute they say, I don't feel like it, or I don't think I can really find the will to play today, that's your spot goodbye in such a
yeah,
competitive world, not just in India but around the world, right? So I think he is speaking on behalf of those who don't have a voice, I would say. And
well
kudos to
said.
him for coming out. I don't see Indian players coming out just because I think growing up in India, we put up with so much pressure, and the realities of life, as amazing as it is, as challenging as it is. I just think that we emotionally, spiritually, maybe even physically, I think we can put up our sort of I guess the tolerance level for stress, pressure, and expectation is, I think, higher than anybody else. So we do
Interesting
what we
point that.
do.
Interesting point. Where I think the Indian players need the most support in terms of mental health is after they are dropped from a team or after
Yes.
they stop like playing, being a part of something. Uh, Most of the Indian seniors do not want to leave the game. They want to leave it on their own terms, whether it's 40-year-old Sachin Tendulkar playing his 200 test match, or whether it's anyone except exceptions like Rahul Dravid, and the fact to accept that the team is moving on, there is not enough support that is offered to them,
Hmm.
and it's happened with the legends. Everybody needs that
Yeah.
support. Everybody needs that reassurance. So I think that is one key aspect needed for Indian cricketers.
Yes.
But yes, we'd like to talk to you about more interesting topics also, Preeti.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
Obviously, this is the World Test Championship. It's a new format that has emerged in cricket. What do you make of it? This is the first Test series that India and England are playing in the second cycle of the World Test Championship. What are your thoughts about this new format?
So as just like every other Indian fan, I watched the final with great gusto and hoping for a particular result for my team, but yet we were, left very shortchanged. I won't take anything away from New Zealand. They played phenomenally during that particular match. I, however, think that India is still the greatest test team on the planet, even beyond that, because I think we're the most versatile. We can play on all surfaces, all conditions, anywhere around the world, more than any other team can. And I think that result didn't reflect that. I'm very critical of the ICC. I think in the way that final was organized, because
Hmm.
come on,
Agreed.
you have years and months to come up with a venue and a date. I think we need to get to a point. Kevin Peterson spoke out on this. We really need to start looking at neutral venues that are not affected by the weather. I'm sorry, but
Good
England
point.
in June, July is it cannot be host to any major cricketing tournament because the weather is going to be play too much of a part, and you don't
Good
want that.
point.
And I think you
Yeah.
need to either maybe Dubai is going to be a great home
Your
for a lot of
headquarters
these
are there.
tournaments, and ICC is based there, right? It's, I think, and you have all the diaspora there anyway. I think it's a win-win for everyone. Weather will never be an issue there. I think the pitches more or less kind of are, everyone's happy with them. So I was disappointed with the timing of it, and up until a week out, come on, you don't have to be a genius to read the weather. And even a month before the final, I was looking at weather forecast. It was so clear what was going to
Yeah.
happen, and you could have pushed it even, even a week out, honestly, even a couple of days, or even start maybe instead of the Friday, if it was on the Sunday, you would have got
Yeah.
your 5 days. And I think because you ended up with a 3 day final, which is not fair on both teams, but it's not fair on the losing team, and in this case, it happened to be India. So
Good point.
I'm very disappointed with all of that. And if if the cricketing world is wants to make Test cricket popular again because it's really dipping everywhere, this is not the way. This is a very poor example of how you've arranged this final. I'd imagine a lot of people are turned off from Test cricket after that. Not just Indians, but other fans as well, because it was awful.
Stop
And
and start. You don't know what is happening, when the game is going to start. Very, very difficult for new fans to follow also, isn't it?
and I think they forced a result at some point. Don't you say they're both worthy teams? I honestly would have liked a draw at the end because I think both teams would have deserved it. But overplaying the players, cramming everything in, and then sort of getting a result like that, it's
Hopefully,
certainly
there's a
not
learning
good
there.
for.
Hopefully there's a learning there. There is
Yes,
so many things that have been tweaked already. The point
yes,
system, for instance, has been
Hmm.
tweaked. That's a learning. And like Preeti
yes,
mentioned, maybe the weather, maybe just the scheduling could be another learning.
yes.
Hopefully they kind of bring it on board for the next cycle.
What about cricket in other parts of the world, Preeti? You've traveled to so many countries. Have you gone to watch cricket games in certain stadiums, or have you watched any matches? Any memories about that? Any stories about that? Going to watch live cricket at stadiums.
Yes, I can tell you my experience of watching cricket at the Sydney Cricket Ground in Sydney, Australia, which is my hometown. And it's great. I mean, Australia is a great cricketing nation, and Sydney Siders, they love their cricket, and
Yeah.
you always have a full house. Sydney Cricket Ground is a great ground, phenomenal. Everyone's having a good time. It was actually against India, I think, and you had you have a lot of Indians in Melbourne and Sydney, and they all came out, and the atmosphere was everybody was just enjoying a great game of cricket. It wasn't a test match, it was a 1 day game. So I remember that. But I mean, I think I'd imagine cricket. I've seen it in Dubai. It's great there. In England, it's good when the weather is warm and sunny. I'm sure it's very it's a different experience altogether, especially if you play in places like Birmingham or
Yeah.
kind
Cool.
of a place with a lot of. I think I can imagine the atmosphere there. I think
Asian
nothing beats an
fans.
India versus Pakistan final, whether in Dubai or in India or in England. I think that
Johannesburg.
would be takes the cake.
Well,
What I
Arun,
want to know, sorry, Akhil, if I can
yeah.
just jump in quickly.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
I want
please.
to know, Preeti, is I mean, if you watched any sport in America, what's the difference in viewing, or what's the experience like? American sport live and cricket in Australia. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah, interesting. Different games are. I've watched so many. I've watched rugby union as well as league. So when you watch American football or rugby, it's different. A lot of it's a rowdy kind of atmosphere. It's mainly guys. people are drinking. It's just a different kind of atmosphere. Baseball is very different. Of course, baseball is loosely kind of organized around cricket. Actually, people might not realize that. So you're an American who loves baseball, you probably will love cricket because it's long game. It's very similar in many ways, and even the terms are, they have there are some similar terms they're used as well. Baseball is a little different, but then soccer matches are a whole different, energy altogether. I think if you watch test match somewhere at a place like Australia or England or it's different. It's very dignified. It's really the gentleman's game. But T20, IPL, and ODI, different story. It's like
Cricket watching
energy,
in England
color.
is never dignified.
Pardon?
The cricket watching in England is always rowdy. They always get drunk and then they try and
True,
abuse the
true, true.
players,
But
even Australia.
it's supposed to be. But you know what I mean, right? It's supposed to be pretty. And I
Yeah, in
think
some
ironically
places
during
clap
COVID,
politely, wear ties.
yeah,
Yeah.
during COVID it was a little more. There were fewer people. Uh, yeah, it was like people were just kind of more insular by themselves. So it was probably more dignified.
Arun, she evoked a lot of memories about India, Pakistan, and Dubai. You
Yeah.
remember those games? It seems like ages ago, right? Like when you used to read about it in newspapers and watch those hazy matches on television, India versus Pakistan in Sharjah. It seems so many decades ago now.
So many, good memories, bad memories, horrors of that Javed Mian, that last ball six. So much has happened there. You
Yeah.
talk about India, Pakistan, and the scheduling of matches on a Friday used to give
Friday.
people nightmares in India. So that's changed now. If you've noticed the India Pakistan game, I read somewhere in the World Cup is not on a Friday.
That's
Yeah, in a
silly.
World Cup, it doesn't matter. They can play
It
whichever
doesn't
day
matter.
they want, and it's still going to be
Yeah,
a
they have to,
one-sided
or else if
result.
they forfeit, they lose points. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what else, Preeti? Which else? What do you follow? Women's cricket? Do you follow the Indian women's stars? Are you following the women's 100 in any way? Any preferences in terms of followership, cricketers that you follow there?
Very, very interesting. In terms of the women's game, I have my hands full with the men's game at the moment. I think watching it, writing about it, kind of getting involved in different aspects of it. So, and between IPL, which I'm a big fan of, and the Test and ODI format, I think my time is completely already taken up, I think. So I think Indian women have all the skill and capability in the world. We should be leading, I think, the charge in terms of we should be winning World Cups. We are that good. We have the skill, the passion, all of that. And now BCCI, I guess you get as much support as you could get as they want to
Not
give
yet,
you, I
not
guess.
yet,
But
not yet.
it's
What
not
will
it's not
happen?
it's not perfect, but it's more than what a lot of other boards are doing. And I always tell people, look, it's you can't compare the men's game and the women's game, and you can't expect the
Absolutely.
same kind of energy, money. It's not fair. The reason why
Good point.
women's tennis has done so well is because the WTA made an effort to make women's tennis extremely competitive, very elite, very attractive, and suddenly everybody watches it. And
Yeah.
you got
And the
superstars.
commercials, if I can just jump in, the commercials matter as well.
Yes, it's all numbers. It's bumps on seats. It's bottom line. This is a business. Boards have difficult decisions to make. So I think demonizing BCCI is not the way to go. I think they're actually pretty generous, and you have to understand that as the men's game grows, the women's game also grows with them, and it happens in
Hmm.
other sports too, even happen in tennis too. So I think the job of all boards around the world should be, how do we make women's cricket attractive to girls, to young girls, young women, because that's your that's your audience, I think. So you need to know who your market is, and then you need to put a proper plan together. I think if you're targeting the wrong kind of market, you're going to get the wrong plan. It won't work. So instead of
Good point.
identity politics and politicizing all of this, that won't work. I think that in
Good point.
sports, it doesn't work.
Excellent,
Good point.
excellent take.
You
Very, very
spoke about,
unusual take. Very
yeah,
unusual take, but very practical there.
balanced take.
Yes.
Yeah.
You spoke about structures also, Preeti. We'd like to know. I mean, I've been reading about reports about the new cricket league starting up in the US. That is something which is exciting with the diaspora of the Indian population there who follow cricket. They are all wealthy Indians who can spend money working in the IT space there. So what is the potential? Where does the league stand now? I've seen a couple of Indian IPL teams picking up stake in the teams there. So where does the league stand now? When do you think it will start?
Yeah, very, very good point. Of course, we all know that there used to be a cricket USA a few years ago, but they got into
Yeah,
a lot of hot water, so they got
Mm.
banned. And they since then there has been no official cricket USA out there. We don't really. I think there's like five different outfits that claim that they're the real cricket USA, but none of
wow,
them are actually ICC sort of
recognized.
organized or
Yeah,
sponsored, right? So
Recognized. Yeah.
we should somebody needs to get a real one set up. Yes, I think KKR is an example, and they bought, is it, well, now it's in my backyard, right? I think they own the LA team here. Don't know much about who's in that team or what plans they have. I think, people always ask me, uh, I mean, firstly, most people don't know that America is the second largest market for viewership for cricket globally. First is, of course, India, and then you have the USA, and then you have other countries like Australia and even the UK
Dubai.
and Pakistan, because uh, it's a small number of Americans, but America has 350 million people, and the diaspora, as small as they are, they do tune in. So this is like viewership numbers and probably maybe money spent
Yep,
on
yep.
streaming, subscriptions and things like that. So it all adds up. So US is basically the second biggest market. They should be a target for you. People always ask me, is it the Goravalas who are watching cricket and playing cricket, or is it the diaspora? So far, for me, from what I've seen, it's really the diaspora that is watching it, and that these leagues will have mainly Indians, maybe some Nepalis, and uh, you know some from other
People of other
countries too.
nationalities. Yeah.
A lot
Now,
countries, for example, Preeti, there's a gentleman from New Zealand who used to have own the record of the fastest century in ODI cricket. A gentleman called as Corey Anderson. He's migrated to the US now, and he is now going to become a professional player. He started playing the leagues there. So what the association, whichever association it is they're trying to get players who can retire from their brief countries. I think they'll give them US citizenship. There's one very talented player who used to play like junior cricket in India who's taken that leap. So
yes,
they're working
I
on
read
a
those articles. The issue is, yes, but they won't. I mean, are they going to represent the USA in the ODI World Cup? Probably not, because they're
not,
too old. But they would play franchise cricket, I think, or league cricket, which is
yeah,
can
just
be
to up the
lucrative
quality of
and
the
can be
game.
great for the sport. So I don't see like a USA team competing in the tests and the ODI and even a T20. But what I do see is the franchise, and you can have IPL teams branching out, or and what's starting to happen already, and I think in Philadelphia is the first, um, I guess, city or state to do this, but they've started their own, I guess, major league cricket team here called the Philadelphians, and I'll be having a conversation with them very, very soon, and finding out how they got started and how hard is it to get a franchise up and running. I mean, maybe I want to have my own franchise,
I was
why
about to
not?
ask.
The Beverly Hills something
I was
something.
actually about to ask you, Preeti. How long before Preeti Upala owns a franchise?
You know what people always say, you got to get involved. Maybe I'll become Cricket USA. Honestly, you need someone passionate and who is knowledgeable and someone who's sincere. And we've had a lot of bad seeds, I think, as far as USA cricket goes, right? So I don't know. I
The
see myself
the
getting involved in some level politically, either with the BCCI or the ICC. So let's see.
good goals that hopefully that materializes someday.
All right, fantastic. So good to get your viewpoints, Preeti. Very, very interesting thoughts. It always helps to talk to people involved in the cricket space who are from different geographies, understand the mindset there, what is happening in those places. But before we wrap up on the show today, let's just quickly talk about the India versus England first Test match. Uh, First Test match, very, very crucial. India has always struggled to win the first Test of an overseas series. Arun is saying we are going to win the
I, I
series.
had I had two questions, Preeti.
Yeah,
Actually, I knew
please,
you were
please go
getting.
for it. I love
Yeah,
I knew you were
questions.
get. I know you were getting your Akhil. So predict the outcome of the first test and predict the result of the series.
Ooh, hmm. So
I mean, it's a guess.
okay, it's a guess for the first test. I will say I have to throw the draw in there because weather is out of our control. It's not something we can really predict even how the umpires will, even if it's raining, you can still play. So it depends. So either an India win or a draw for the first test. And for the series, this is a tricky one. I think a lot of people are saying I don't think 3-1 India, like Michael Vaughan said, is it's I don't
Yeah.
think that's going to be the result. Uh, you know, well, I mean, I think if you say three anything, you're saying that there's going to be no draw. Well, three
I'll
two.
make it.
You're
I'll make
saying
it easier for you. Pick a
okay.
India win, a England win, or a draw for the series.
Yeah, that's better because I try to get, and I've done very well with specific results. Either an India win or a draw.
We'll take that. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
Indian
think
fans
this
will
is
take
the
that.
best chance, as good a chance as any that we'll get. Yeah, I think India has what it takes to come good. They have to have they got to deliver though. It's a perfect opportunity for them. I think you need nerves. You need nerves of steel though. You have to be very cool and calm. And these are the times when I miss the great MS Dhoni. That energy is, I don't. Maybe that's lacking in this side. I think, or in
We've learned. We've realized now that you're a huge MS Dhoni fan.
who isn't? I mean, I think I'm one amongst a billion people.
Absolutely. Akhil, also remember we spoke about the luck of the green of the fourth tour of England. Like Preeti said, if that she's banking on India for reasons, we think it could also be the green of the fourth tour of England.
absolutely. I mean, good signs for India. Whatever has happened so far, people openers getting runs, tailenders getting runs, Bumrah finding form early. So it's all good. The moment the batting lineup starts getting runs, this team is going to be very, very difficult to stop. And we are all hoping that happens soon. So fantastic, Preeti. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for taking out time and joining us. As usual, we love having more cricket fans, and hopefully, once we are closer to the Indian T20 League and the
Yes,
T20 World Cup, we should have more conversations at that time. Uh,
yes.
I'm sure you'll have one specific team that you follow, one particular player that you follow,
CSK all the way,
and
baby.
okay, fantastic. So let's join back again. We'd love to have you back again, and thank you so much today for taking out time. We'll be back here at Timeout with Sports Adda.
Okay, guys,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. It's what a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and namaste to all your viewers on Sports Adda. Guys, check me out, my channel. Find me on Twitter, Preety Effect. My channel is the Preety Experience. I love people interacting and coming up with questions and all of that good stuff. So please get in touch. I can't wait to be back on your show and go India. And I hope we have the result that we desire.
Go
Thank
India
you.
is right.
Catch up soon,
Namaste.
guys.
Thank you.